Greetings, metalheads, and welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George, and today I'm back with another album ranking review. Yes, I'm going to be tackling the full-length studio catalogue of thrash metal legends, the mighty Anthrax. So Anthrax, a name that pretty much every metalhead is going to be familiar with, no doubt. But they are one of the pioneering US thrash metal bands. Of course, they are lumped in with the likes of Metallica, Slayer, and Megadeth under the American Big Four of thrash metal title. But actually, aside from that, Anthrax are just a really freaking solid band. They've had their ups and downs over the years. They've had breaks and hiatuses and all that kind of stuff going on. But actually, Anthrax are a really freaking good band. So I've been tackling this album ranking and it has been in the pipeline for quite some time. I must admit, I actually found ranking the albums of Anthrax to be more challenging than I did ranking those of Slayer and even Metallica. This was a real challenge because Anthrax, they don't have any bad albums. I wouldn't even say they have any particularly weak albums. They have some very different albums, but they're all really good in their own way. Of course, Anthrax, they've been around since 1981, originating from New York. They have had periods of inactivity, they've had lineup changes, and really there is only the 11 full-length albums in total. So not a huge number of albums to rank. I will say that I am excluding the Greater of Two Evils re-recordings album, which they did with John Bush, re-recording some of the earlier years classics. I'm not including that, although it's a good release. That one can sit out. So we're just tackling the other 11 albums, which was a serious challenge. But I'm going to kick off with my number 11. So I'm going from least to most favourite. And to be honest, my least favourite Anthrax album is actually the debut album from, I believe it was from 1984. It is the Fistful of Metal album. So the debut, an interesting album. It is a good album. It is a good album. There is no denying that. It's got some absolutely killer classic material on it. Death Rider, Metal Thrashing Mad, Soldiers of Metal, the title track. There are some good, strong tracks on that album. However, I feel like it's still very firmly rooted in traditional heavy metal, new wave of British heavy metal, the Nwabum. It's firmly rooted in that, and it wasn't really raw, unrelenting Anthrax. You know, there was a lot of energy there. There's some really decent tracks there. Strong debut, but it doesn't really feel all that much like an Anthrax album, in my opinion. It is a good one, but just not one of my favourites. So yeah, definitely a number 11 for me. It's a bit of a strange album, but it is a good one. There's strange sort of Man-O-War sounding tendencies at times. I'm not really overly keen on some of the tracks, like the Alice Cooper cover, I'm 18. Doesn't quite do it for me. Yeah, not a bad one, just not brilliant. Panic, I'm also not entirely keen on. And Neil Turbin, I believe his name, vocalist on that album, not massively keen on his vocals either. So number 11, I'm going with the debut Fistful of Metal. Okay, so number 10 then. An interesting album and a very good one. This is the first album to feature John Bush of Armored Saint, an excellent, truly superb US heavy metal band. This is the Sound of White Noise, the debut to feature John. A very strong album. I believe it was released in 1993. It's got some cracking tracks on it. Very much influenced by, I guess, grunge and groove metal coming in there as well. Still thrashing at times. It's got some belting tracks on it, and it is a strong album, definitely. With tracks like Potter's Field, Only, the very radio-friendly track there. Package Rebellion's a great one, as is High Pro Glow. Black Lodge, big number for Anthrax. There's some good stuff. There is some really strong material here. The band is still sounding good, still sounding tight. I just feel like some of the other John Bush era albums were a little bit better, but actually this is a really strong one. Really grown on me over the years. Didn't hear it for a long, long time. So it's probably only a few years ago that I actually picked up a copy. And it's a strong album. Very strong album. So number 10, we're going with Sound of White Noise. Okay, now, it's where it gets even more challenging. Number 9 then. Number 9, we are sticking with the John Bush era, and it is an album which I don't actually have on CD as an individual. I have it as a double CD with the Greater of Two Evils. But number 9, we're going with the 2003, the final album to feature John Bush on vocals, We've Come For You All, which I recently picked up as a reissue vinyl. I'm not going to show off the full package. I'll save that for a collection update. This album, it's a good album. It sounds like Anthrax almost transitioning back to more of a thrash metal orientated sound, where they had been for the last 2-3 albums very much orientated on kind of groove heavy metal. Actually, this one is a good album. I feel like it's got a lot of great tracks, but kind of doesn't pack the same punch as some of the other Bush era albums. I think the opening tracks like What Doesn't Die, Superhero, Refuse to Be Denied, they're good songs. They're strong. You've got some cracking riffs there. The band sounds solid. John's a great singer. I love John Bush's vocals. Really keen on his voice. He's got a great voice, I feel. Very unique sound. You know, the whole band is tight here. Rob and Scott absolutely shredding here. Frank, absolute beast. And of course, Charlie Benante, one of the best drummers in the business. They do a good job here. Some great tracks. Some of them I can kind of take or leave. I think Black Dahlia is a good one. But like Strap It On, yeah, it's a fairly decent track. Cadillac Rock Box, interesting one. Think About the End. Taking the music back. Some good stuff. Just nothing absolutely extraordinary. So that's why it's kind of sitting at number 9 for me. We've Come For You All, the final album to feature John on vocals. Okay, so now number 8, we are still in the Bush era. We're going with the second album, in fact, to feature John on vocals. This is Stomp 442. Year of release, can't quite recall, 1995. I feel like this is actually a really good album. This one has really, really grown on me over time. It's a very groovy album, but it really does pack a punch. It's a heavy album. It's got some great tracks on here, some really great musicianship, but tracks like Random Acts of Senseless Violence, Fueled, King Size, Riding Shotgun, Perpetual Motion, In a Zone. To be honest, the whole first side of the album, definitely, I would challenge anyone to not get up and move when you hear that. It's freaking great. It's a real stomping album. It's got a real swagger to it. Clearly a massive groove metal, dare I say it, early new metal kind of thing going on there. But the first side is brilliant. And then on the second side, we've got tracks like American Pompeii, the absolutely monstrous Drop the Ball, which is hugely groovy. Love it. Tester, another good one, but a really strong album. Absolutely. John sounding great. The whole band sounding solid. Cracking drumming. Awesome, groovy, chunky riffs there. yeah, a solid album indeed. So we're going with 4-4 Stomp 442 for number 8. Okay, this is where it got really challenging because my number 8 and number 7 were pretty much interchangeable, as a lot of these albums were, to be fair. I'm going with Volume 8. Now, this album, Volume 8, The Threat Is Real, is the third album to feature John, released in 1998. This is a really good album. I feel like this is a really heavy album. Between Sounds of White Noise and this album, they clearly just got heavier. They seem to have incrementally got heavier and groovier. It's got some killer tracks on it, like Crush, Catharsis is great, Inside Out, Toast to the Extras is a decent one as well. Born Again, Idiot. There are some funny moments on here as well, like Big Fat, Cup of Joe. You know, there's some interesting funny moments, but some criminally heavy, groovy riffs on tracks like Hogtied, Harm's Way, Alpha Male. Some good stuff here. The whole band sounds good. A 4-piece here. Solid stuff. I really dig it. This one has really grown on me over time. Really surprised at just how much Stomp 442 and Volume 8 have grown on me over the years. But they are really, really decent. Absolutely brilliant stuff, which is why this is sitting at number 7 for me. Okay, number 6 then. An all-time classic. We're going with Persistence of Time. The last album from the early years to feature Joey Belladonna until his later return. Released in 1990. It was the 4th album with Joey on vocals. I feel like this is the heaviest album from that era. It's a really dark album. It has a real dark vibe to it, in my opinion. It's heavy. It's a really good album. Again, another one that has really grown on me with time. For a long time, I considered this to be one of my least favourite Anthrax albums, but actually, it's a bit of a masterpiece. Killer tracks like Time, Blood, Keep It in the Family, In My World, Belly of the Beast. Absolutely love that one. Really not that keen on the Got the Time cover. Really take that or leave it. Hate Red, One Man Stands, and Discharge. Absolutely killer. It's a really strong album. It's really thrashing. Like Scott's riffs on there, his rhythms absolutely just awesome. It's a really riffing album. It sounds good. It does sound like it's tail end of that kind of golden era of thrash, and of course it would have been 1990. So things are changing quite dramatically in the thrash metal world. But this is a heavy album for 1990. This is a heavy album, and Anthrax was sounding good. Definitely, they'd come a long way for album number 5. But this is a strong effort, a really strong one. As I say, some absolute benchmark tracks like Time, Blood, Keep It in the Family, In My World is absolutely fantastic. Love it. That is, for me, album number 6, because it is a very strong album. It's just toe-to-toe with the album that then took the number 5 spot for me, which is the predecessor. State of Euphoria, the 4th full length, released in 1988. State of Euphoria, sitting at number 5 for me. I really love this album. I got into Anthrax. It was just before the Worship Music album came out, and it was through albums like Among the Living, Spreading the Disease, and State of Euphoria. And I always kind of considered that run of 3 albums, spreading through State of Euphoria, to be a bit of a benchmark kind of hat trick of 3 superb albums. And I'm really surprised to read over the years and hear some kind of disapproving reviews of this album. This album, State of Euphoria, is not as good as the 2 albums that came before it, but it's still a bloody good effort. A really solid one. Be All, End All, I love that track, as I also love Out of Sight, Out of Mind. Make Me Laugh is a good one. Yeah, the Antisocial cover is a bit of a classic for Anthrax, and that's fine. One of the weakest moments on the album, though, definitely, in my opinion. Who Cares Wins is great, as is Now It's Dark, Schism, Misery Loves Company, and the absolutely blistering finale, track number 10, Finale. It's a superb album. Joey sounded fantastic on this album. I think the whole band sounded really good. It was thrashing. It wasn't as blindingly thrashing as the two albums that came before it, but actually, it's still a really solid one. It's just not quite as impactful as the two albums that came before it. But both of these albums, number 6 and number 5 for me, were pretty much toe to toe. They're both great albums. State of Euphoria, album number 5. Okay, now we're on to number 4. So number 4 for me, this one, I kind of left for a long time. It's actually the most recent album, For All Kings. Now, this was released in 2016, so it has been a long time since the last album. When this came out, I was an eager Anthrax fan, of course still am, but was picking that album up straight away, especially on the back of how good the album that came before it was. No question. Picked it up, loved it, and then for reasons unknown, I just really haven't come back to it all that much over the years. You know, there's so much great music out there. There's also so much great Anthrax music out there. But for whatever reason, I just really didn't come back to it. Although recently I have almost righted the wrong and picked up For All Kings on this lovely double vinyl reissue. I won't show that off today. But this is a bloody good album. This is an absolutely mighty fine album. And I was listening to this, I have been listening to this album a lot recently. And when I started doing this ranking, For All Kings was on the lower end of my ranking. And it's rocketed up to number 4 with really good reason. The whole album sounds fantastic. The whole band sounds incredible. Joey, he sounds great. He's on great form. The whole lineup here is solid. Scott and John absolutely riff in circles around this album. Frank sounds great. His thick rumbling bass is awesome. And Charlie just absolutely just nails it. Just nails it. And it's a great album. So well produced. You've got some exceptionally good tracks on here. There is not a bad song on this album. Some of them are just top freaking notch. You Gotta Believe is a great intro kind of opening track. Monster at the End is a really good one, as is the title track. The tracks like Breathing Lightning, that's a great number. Suzerain is monstrously heavy. Those riffs they're just colossal. Evil Twin, amazing. Blood Eagle Wings, incredible. Defend Avenge, one of the best tracks on the album. All of Them Thieves is another great one. This Battle Chose Us and Zero Tolerance. Wow. What an album. What a freaking great album. Absolutely love it. Hence the 2 versions of it. I think that this is such a good piece of work. And, you know, this was 2016. Wow, it's been a long time. 9 years since the last album. If it's taken Anthrax 8-9 years to make an album, but it's going to be of this kind of quality, then take your time, lads. There's no rush, because this is great stuff. Absolutely love it. So number 4 for me, For All Kings. Number 3 then, going with Worship Music. The comeback album, the return to form with Joey back in the band, released in 2011. I adore this album. I'm actually awaiting a vinyl copy, which I ordered recently. And wow, this album, when this came out, there was so much hype about Anthrax and about Worship Music. They were getting so much attention. I remember picking up, I think it was Metal Hammer magazine, or it might have been Classic Rock. I think it was Metal Hammer, and it was like a Anthrax special. It was all about Worship Music and all about the band, and the focus was really on this album. And I think, if I'm probably paraphrasing, but I think I remember reading a statement which said, this is the best Big Four album since Rain in Blood, or say it was something like that, like a big statement, the best thrash album since 1986, something crazy like that. I remember thinking, like, that's bold. That's a bold statement. But you know what? I probably wouldn't go that far, but I would say that this is a top-notch album. I love it. Again, the whole band sounds incredible. The whole package is brilliant. Earth on Hell, Devil You Know, Fight Until You Can't, I'm Alive, In the End, The Giant, Judas Priest, Crawl, Constant, Revolution Screams, Sublime, freaking love it. Joey, such a good vocalist. I love Joey Belladonna's vocals. Absolutely love the whole band. They're thrashing. It's a very thrashy album. Yeah, love it. I love it to bits. I loved it when I first heard it. I got it at the time of release, and I still absolutely adore this one. Worship Music is just something else. It's a real special one, which is why it's at number 3. Worship Music from 2011. Okay, now we are at number 1 and 2. Now my number 1 and 2 have been interchanging over and over for weeks now, but I'm gonna stick with this. I'm gonna stick with this and say that my number 2 is actually the third album from 1986, is Among the Living. Among the Living is one of the all-time most important classic benchmark thrash metal albums. Anthrax and Among the Living, that is pioneering stuff. This is an amazing album, and they have given it so much love, and they've given it so much airtime over the years, performing the whole album in full, live. They have played it countless times to countless crowds. I've seen Anthrax 3 times over the years, not in quite a few years actually, I will add, but they have always included the essentials. Among the Living, Caught in a Mosh, I Am the Law, Indians. Great stuff. My favourite tracks are actually some of the slightly deeper dives, the NFL, I can never pronounce the the unabbreviated title part, I should say. But A Skeleton in the Closet, absolutely love. And if you want to hear a truly superb live version of that, it's the Kings Among Scotland live album, which is a true live killer. Horror of It All, or ADI, absolutely love that one, as I do One World as well. But this is a start to finish essential thrash metal classic. Whole band, killing. Absolutely just a masterpiece. Everyone knows this album. Anyone who loves thrash or just heavy metal knows the importance of Among the Living. It's right up there with Master of Puppets. It's right up there with Rain in Blood, with Peace Sells. You know, it's a true classic, and it absolutely deserves that, which is why it is at number 2 for me. Only just, in my opinion, behind album number 2 from 1985. This is Spreading the Disease. This album, I love it to bits. I absolutely love this album to bits. This was the first Anthrax album that I really fell deeply in love with. It was one of the first that I picked up, and it was tracks like AIR, the opening track. Lone Justice is obviously an absolute classic, but Madhouse, The Enemy, Aftershock, Armed and Dangerous, Gung Ho, Medusa as well. Not a bad track, not even a remotely weak track. This is a top-notch, flawless thrash metal album, and it is thrashing. It is absolutely ripping. You listen to this album, make sure it's nice and loud, but you listen to tracks like Madhouse or Armed and Dangerous, Gung Ho, particularly Gung Ho, that is an absolute ripper. Freaking ripper. This album thrashes so hard. The whole band, again, sounds brilliant. Joey sounds particularly good on this album. The whole thing, I just love it. Great album cover as well. Brilliant cover. I love this album so freaking much. The Scott and Dan Spitz guitar duo there, that was top-notch stuff. Absolute beast. my number one favourite Anthrax album, Spreading the Disease from 1985. So, there we have it. Just a reminder. Number 11, I went with Fistful of Metal, which is a good album, just not an exceptional Anthrax album. Number 10 then, the rather interesting, very unique Sound of White Noise, first album to feature John Bush on vocals, which I actually also have in tape format here. Very cool. Number 9, We've Come For You All, the final album to feature John on vocals from 2003. Then we have number 8, Stomp 442. A very fine album indeed, which I also have on tape. Cool. Number 7, we have Volume 8, The Threat Is Real. Very good album indeed. That would be number 6 then. We have The Persistence of Time. A remarkable album. Just beaten by State of Euphoria. So number 5 for me. An absolutely brilliant album. Show off some more props. Persistence of Time and State of Euphoria have on tape too. More recent editions. Number 4 then. For All Kings, the most recent album from the band. A very fine album indeed. Love it. Then we have at number 3, the absolutely fantastic Worship Music. An exceptional album. Absolutely adore that one. Number 2, an all-time classic album, Among the Living. And my number 1, Spreading the Disease from 1985. A masterpiece. Freaking love that album. Absolutely love Anthrax. This exercise has been brilliant. I have loved revisiting these albums. I've listened to all of these albums, all 11, at least 5 times a piece. So that's a whole lot of Anthrax over the last couple of months. And this has really emphasised just how brilliant Anthrax are. They're an exceptionally good band live as well. Haven't seen them in a few years. I think the last time I saw them was actually, I think, the last Sonosphere Festival here in the UK. Which is a really long time ago, but they're a great, great band. Some cracking live albums as well, particularly the Kings Among Scotland live album, absolutely brilliant. You know, they've got some great personalities in the band as well, exceptional talents. Anthrax really do deserve that recognition because they're a top-notch thrash band, top-notch metal band. So, my friends, what are your thoughts on the mighty Anthrax? How would you rank their albums? Are you more a fan of the Bush era or Joey? What are your thoughts and opinions on the mighty Anthrax? Let me know. Interested to hear thoughts and opinions of others, as always. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this humble ranking review. Please do feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment. Support is very much appreciated, as always. Do check back soon for more reviews and recommendations of all the good, heavy things. Until next time, my friends, do take care of yourselves, listen to Anthrax, and stay freaking heavy.